how can we understand the nature of mind if we can't touch it, taste it, or see it in its true fundamental state? Well, one of the great traditions of Asia studied the nature of mind like no other. And I'm speaking about the tradition of Dzogchen that we find in Vajrayana Buddhism, which a lot of people will call Tibetan Buddhism. But Vajrayana Buddhism is basically the Buddhism that developed within the Himalayas, right? And so you have the great tradition of Dzogchen, which focuses on the actual nature of mind. And it looks at this through many different concepts, but one of the original concepts is Rigpa, which is this pristine total presence or awareness, this non-dwelling state that we have within ourselves, which they have just ascribed this term Rigpa to because it is this non-dwelling state. It doesn't need to dwell under anything or any philosophy or this and that. It is this pure total presence that is at the foundation of the nature of our mind. Now, one text that explains the nature of mind and this idea of Rigpa to its nth degree, which is a Dzogchen text, which is Flight of the Garuda, and I highly recommend this translation by Keith Dowman. It is one of the greatest translations, and this is one of the greatest texts in the world in general, really. When you want to dive deeper into the nature of mind, the nature of your existence, this text will take you there through the understanding of what the Dzogchen teachings are. Now, I want to share with you a verse from the Flight of the Garuda today to explore what the nature of the mind actually is. The nature of mind in its purity is like a stainless crystal ball. Its essence is emptiness, its nature is clarity, and its responsiveness is a continuum. In no way whatsoever is the nature of mind affected by samsara's negativity. From the first, it is Buddha. Trust in this. This is a really interesting quote, and if you're not up to speed with a lot of the concepts and ideas within Dzogchen, then it may seem a little strange and you may see it on the face value, right? Because in the Flight of Garuda, when it states that its essence, so the nature of mind, is emptiness, its nature is clarity, and its responsiveness is a continuum, you can think of that just in its superficial understanding in English, right? But what actually the Flight of the Garuda is speaking about here is the Trikayas, right? The Trikayas. And so the Trikayas are made up of three kayas, right? And these three kayas make up our Buddha nature. When you hear Buddha nature in Buddhism, they're actually referring to the Trikayas. This is teachings that you don't often hear, because even sometimes a lot of the monks and that teach a lot of these ideas don't even know what the Trikayas are themselves, right? So we're going deeper here. And so the Trikayas are made up. In this verse, it says emptiness, right? The first one, its essence is emptiness. It's like a stainless crystal ball, it says in the Flight of the Garuda, right? The nature of mind in its purity is like a stainless crystal ball. And so, first of all, it says its essence is emptiness. So what are we talking about emptiness here? We're talking about the first kaya. We're talking about Dhammakaya. And so Dhammakaya is this fundamental emptiness. It is a pure empty state. Dhammakaya is a pure empty quality of the Trikayas. But the thing is that this relates to the second aspect here, where in the Flight of the Garuda, it says that its nature is clarity, right? So its essence is Dhammakaya, right? So the essence of our Buddha nature, or the nature of mind, is emptiness. But if it's emptiness, then how would we know who we are, what emptiness is, right? This is the question that a lot of people will ask. If it's just pure emptiness, how do we know that it's empty? And that's where this second kaya comes in, right? Where it says its nature is clarity. And this is the second kaya. This is Sambhogakaya. And so Sambhogakaya is the cognizant quality. So this cognizant quality knows the emptiness. They arise together. One does not arise separate. They arise together. This is what we would call empty cognizance. The great Dzogchen master Tulku Urgyen Rinpoche actually phrased this, empty cognizance. So it's not emptiness per se. When someone says shunyata, they don't mean emptiness. What they should mean is empty cognizance. And so what this means is, shunyata means the arising of emptiness and the cognizant quality together. It's empty cognizance, because you are cognizant of the emptiness. The Sambhogakaya knows the Dhammakaya, right? And so that's why it says here, its essence is emptiness, its nature is clarity, right? So its nature is a cognizant quality, which is Sambhogakaya. Our nature is to know the emptiness. Our nature is this cognizant quality. It's inherently there. There's a cognizant quality that is there, buck naked, right? And then you get into the third aspect, and its responsiveness is a continuum. This is the third kaya. This is Nirmanakaya, right? So Nirmanakaya is the unity of the first two kayas. So the moment we know that our essence is Dhammakaya, is emptiness, and our nature is Sambhogakaya, the cognizant quality, and the unity of these suffused with awareness, with a knowing of the empty cognizance, this is Nirmanakaya. And so why it says continuum, right, is that the empty essence of Dhammakaya and the cognizant quality of Sambhogakaya are forever indivisible. This is the continuum, right? This is Nirmanakaya. The understanding of that, or the capacity for that, is the unity of both. That is Nirmanakaya. And so these three are the Trikayas, are the Buddha nature, right? This is what you truly are. You are fundamentally these three Trikayas. You're Dhammakaya, Sambhogakaya, Nirmanakaya. And so the eternal continuum of the first two is Nirmanakaya, right? And so this is how we should understand the nature of mind. And this gets us into the real deeper metaphysical teachings of Buddhism, which is Dzogchen, right? And so a lot of people don't even understand these teachings, don't know about them, don't teach them. And so we are going to that place. And this is actually the nature of mind. And so after we understand the Trikayas, in this verse in the Flight of the Garuda, it says that in no way whatsoever is the nature of mind affected by samsara's negativity. Do you see here? Because it says in the next line, from the first it is Buddha. Trust in this. So from the first, it is your Buddha nature, right? So when you understand the Trikayas as they are, samsara cannot touch you. This is Rigpa. This is the total presence, the pure awareness that has not been stained by any type of conditioning, but is your fundamental nature. And we just give it a name of Rigpa, right? We just ascribe it that name, but that's what it actually is. It's got nothing to do about whether reality is dual or non-dual or this and that. It's just that, right? And so you cannot be touched by samsara, the negativity of samsara. It cannot touch you because in your fundamental state, all you are the Trikayas. Dhammakaya, your essence, Sambhogakaya, your cognizant quality, and Nirmanakaya, the unity of both, the capacity of both, that eternal continuum. And so that's all you are, fundamentally. And so samsara can only come about when you identify with something separate from that, or an extension of that, right? You forget that you're the Trikayas. This is where all of the problems arise. And so when we understand that, then we can understand the next part of this verse, which it states, such is my introduction initiating recognition of the original nature of mind, the ground of our being, our true existential condition. So now, according to the Flight of the Garuda, we know the true nature of mind, because the true nature of mind are the Trikayas. How could it be anything else? Even when you investigate deeply, which Dzogchen is imploring you to do, right? Investigate deeply. Then you do realize that fundamentally your essence is empty, is Dhammakaya, right? There's nothing there. But what arises in unison with that? Sambhogakaya, right? It's a cognizant quality. Something knows the emptiness. You can't just have the emptiness, because then you wouldn't even exist. You wouldn't be hearing me now. I wouldn't be speaking to you. There'd just be nothing, right? And so then there's the nature of mind, which is, as I said, the cognizant quality, and the unity of both is Nirmanakaya, right? It's that eternal continuum. And so this is why, in particularly Vajrayana Buddhism, they often say that the mind is empty, spontaneous, and free. It actually is empty, spontaneous, and free. When you don't give it anything to cling to, right? Anything to fix itself on, the mind is just completely open, empty, spontaneous, and free. The nature of our mind is non-dwelling. And so that's something that's hard for a lot of spiritual aspirants to comprehend. A lot of us, in a sense, don't want to accept that and find it hard to abide in that. But that's actually the nature of our mind. It's empty, spontaneous, and free. But the problem is we have this urge to fix our mind, to have a dwelling, to dwell under something, to dwell under a belief, to dwell under a philosophy, so forth and so on, right? The list is endless of objects of knowledge or objects of perception that we want to dwell under. But when we abide in this non-dwelling rigpa state of the tree kayas, then we are completely free. Then we abide in the nature of mind, which is empty, spontaneous, and free. Shanti, shanti, shanti.